Hey, what's up? I'm Gazbot. In San Francisco, I was just in Rincon Park doing a proposal caricature job that I've mentioned before. I did the drawing ahead of time, but I still had to go and sort of act as though it was all happening spontaneously and doing a quick little drawing. And it's gorgeous scenery, and now I'm a 5-minute walk away and it smells for some reason. And there are more unsavories around varying degrees of unsavory. But there's a nice breeze. I was in that sun just baking. It was terrible. That's the second mistake I've made this weekend involving the sun. But it's been a long week without a lot to show that I could show you for it. We'll get into it more, but I'm kind of coming to the end of my crazy period. I got some video editing to do. We'll talk more. I just wanted to actually have a video of me out here in the city rather than just all in the studio, which is where we're going now. Okay, so it's 7:24 a.m. I'm a tired person, man. Oh, I was trying to make this not centered. Okay, here we go. I'm intentionally trying to make this not centered so that if I throw up some artwork here, it'll make sense. All the popular YouTubers, usually it's people doing toy reviews and things like that or news, but I've been throwing up like art stuff. Let me move this over a little. So I'm Gazbot. I'm tired. I did not get a good night's sleep. Yesterday was a rough day. Anyway, the craziness continues. We're at the home stretch, though. I forget what I talked about last week. This is also weird because I'm used to looking straight here, so I'm looking in the camera. The camera's over there, so now I'm looking this way. So anyway, where am I at with my various things? As you saw, I was in San Francisco for the proposal caricature job. It went well. She seemed to be happy and say yes, and I left. And I can show you something. This is the pre-done caricature I did. Now, why can I show this to you? Because I had to redo it. So this one is now mine, and I can show it to you, and I will probably end up throwing it away. But the short version is there was a miscommunication, and in the pre-drawn caricature, he was supposed to be down on one knee with a ring, and I did not draw him doing that. They had a list of other things they wanted, landmarks and references to various places. I think there was like a list of like 6 things I had to include in it. And I got all that right, and I drew them, and whatever, and it was all fine, except that. And that was not explicitly stated to me. It was sort of implied, and you might be going, yeah, of course, it's a proposal caricature. But not every proposal caricature literally has someone down on one knee, so I didn't take it for granted. But I didn't clarify, and they didn't clarify, and we're out of time. And I kind of did a little back and forth because I sort of wanted to ask for more money to redraw it, which I've done in the past if it was clearly not my fault. Like if they've said, oh, we wanted a different background. Well, you have to pay. I'm going to redraw it. This was sort of like, maybe 50-50 blame, but I wanted to keep a good relationship with the company, and I just wanted to be done with it, and so I just redid it, which is not what I'd normally do, but again, it was like, it could be argued that I should have known better, whatever. I mean, I don't, I guess there are artists, I worked with the photographer, who's the same photographer I worked with 2 years ago, so I guess he works with them all the time. So I guess there are artists and people that do wedding stuff all the time, and it's like super rote for them, I suppose. But for me, I'm like, I'm just telling you, I'm just doing exactly what you tell me. I'm gonna take a sip of this coffee out of my lovely Ultraman mug. Do you like how I played it like a flute? I was trying to move my hand so you could see it, but it's weird because if you're right-handed, you can't see. I guess I look at it, which is nice, but typically you think of like a commercial like, oh, Ultraman, the flavor of good. But anyway, so that's done, is the point. I went through, that's done. Power Morphicon was fun to do and will be airing this weekend. I'm recording this on Thursday, the 17th. And we have 2 panels for Action Activate. I know that's not art related, but it took up a lot of time. The wrangling of getting the scheduling done with the various actors and stuff took much more work than I thought it would. Then we recorded it, which was the fun part. And then that editing took quite a while. There was a little bit of like cutting things out, like somebody dropped off the call and I had to cut that, and then I put a little bit of music at the beginning, things like that. But that wasn't that big a deal. The bigger deal was the discrepancy in volume levels, because we were on StreamYard, which is like a Zoom type application, and there were 2 actors, one on each stream, that was just way lower than everyone else. Because there's always a little bit of variance, but it would be like, we'd all be talking at this level, and I'd be like, oh, so what did you think, Actor X? well, yeah, you know, it was cool when we did and so I was like, that's no good. But the thing is, I can't boost the level of everybody because then everyone else is screaming. So I had to go through and clip each individual line for these actors, and I keep forgetting to look at the camera. And it's the opposite of acting where you're supposed to not look at the camera. It was like, I'm talking to you, look at me in the eye. And it wasn't, well, it was time consuming. It wasn't so bad when I would ask a question and the actor would then answer it for a while, but then there would be interactions between several people. And so one person would be like, hey, I thought this, and that other actor would just inject a word or a phrase in the middle, and that got hard, where So the point is that took a while, despite being a fun thing and a prestigious, dare I say, thing. Sorry, my brain's scrambled, I had to keep stopping. The other thing I had to do, so caricature job done, Power Morphicon stuff all done. The 10 sketch cards that I have accepted the new job, I did a rough for one of them. I did half of a rough for one of them, but I'm kind of, again, not really worrying about that right now. And the Mother's Day gift that I still haven't finished is the main thing I have to do. And I have worked on it here and there, but it's taking forever for a million reasons. Most of it is just like I'm trying to make it perfect. And I think I've said this before. It's like when you forget to email someone back or call someone back, the longer you take, the more you feel like you can't just be like, hey, what's up? You have to be like, oh, listen, here's all the reasons they didn't call you back. And here's it, and I feel like that's what's happened with this art. Like, if I just given it to her, it'd been fine. And the longer I spend, well, now I better do this. Oh, that doesn't look right. That's not perfect. And it's not an amazing piece of art. but whatever. I'm close to being done with it. So that's the last assignment I have to do. Well, other than the cards, but that's So my goal is to finish that as soon as possible. And but I keep getting sidetracked by other little things. Like the things I'm showing you over here are sketches I've been doing on my iPad that I could just. They're not for anything. They're just like drawing toys and whatever. Just things I can draw when I have time just to keep myself drawing, but they're not necessarily things that I want to draw, and for myself, they're not necessarily things that are going to be good. I imagine it like people who are going to the gym where they should be going through their routine that gets them ready for whatever. I don't know anything about the gym. I guess I'm thinking like someone going for a walk around their neighborhood to keep in shape is not the same as going to the gym, and that's how I feel about these little sketches. They're not doing anything for me other than keeping me moving a little bit. Speaking of which, this past weekend, Saturday, I went for a huge hike with a buddy of mine. It's the same park I'd went to before, but we went up the other side. It ended up being like a 3-hour hike with a huge incline in the sun. I don't regret it. It was good for mental health and chatting with him, and it's good for physical fitness and all that, but it was much more challenging than I intended. And I was pretty much wasted the rest of the day. I literally had blisters on my feet, and it drained me that day. And the next day, I just sort of slept walk through the day. Excuse me. I did, something came in the mail. This is Studio Series. This is a Transformers figure. This is Jazz from the 84 G1 cartoon, but it's a figure that just came out. It's part of the Studio Series, which up until recently was all movie stuff, Michael Bay stuff. But this is the 86, which was the animated 86 movie. Now, Jazz wasn't a huge part of that movie, but I think this was a way just to get a classic-looking Jazz to come out. I wasn't even going to get it because I'm like, oh, he's not really part of the... I mean, he's in the movie, don't get me wrong, but he's not part of what you think of as the movie. But then I realized, oh, well, I could just put him with my other figures, and he looks better than the Jazz I currently have. And the current Jazz I have is from 15 years ago, a classics line that I actually found. Back where I used to live, they'd have garbage day where you'd put out bulk stuff, and I would ride my bike around there, and I'd find all kinds of cool stuff, including one time a box of Marvel Legends and Transformers figures, which he was a part of. And the sad thing was, I didn't have a bag, or I didn't have the capability to grab the whole box. So I grabbed a few that looked good to me, and by the time I went back, it was gone. But there was tons, and I mostly grabbed Transformers. I may have grabbed a Marvel Legend or two. And this was back before I collected Marvel Legends, so I just gave them away. I'm getting sidetracked, but the point is, this one is better than the one I got in the garbage 5 years ago that is 15 years old. So what else? Power Rangers Dino Fury is back on Netflix. They aired 3 episodes 2 days ago. And so there are some people that follow that part of my channel that have been like, when are you going to do it? What's going on? Have you seen it? No, we haven't seen it. I've been so busy. It's ironically, a lot of the reason I haven't seen it is because of Power Morphicon, but next week I'll be doing that. So that's something I have to do next week. I also put up the Ultraman sketch card review video which is already up. You can check that out. That's literally me just critiquing my own work and talking a little bit about being a sketch card artist. If that does well, I might do another one where I talk a little bit more about technique in the business and go over some more cards that I've done. Yeah, so my short-term goal is to finish the Mother's Day present and get to work on the sketch cards. And at that point, I could start getting back to work on the Horror A4. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. I do have a Godzilla Night event coming up in August, and I'd like to have some new work done for that, but that's not something I need to work on right now. I feel like I do this all the time. Like I've mostly cleared my plate, but is there something else I'm forgetting? I don't know. But I'm gonna stop now. This is it's been a long week. It hasn't been a terrible week. Yesterday I felt physically sick, and I feel better now. But it's just yeah, things have been crazy. Like it's weird. Luckily, things have not all been hitting me at once. Like I had like art stuff was hitting me, and then like I didn't feel good, and then Q had a hard time, and then but not literally all at once. But it's the last couple weeks. I don't want to say they've been rough because that makes stuff. Because oh boy, sorry, but just busy. What's the word beyond busy? Frantic? Not frantic. Hectic. Things have been hectic. But I feel as though they're calming down. And so, like I said, today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday, and after work, I'm gonna hang out with my buddy, the big dog, actually, and pick up some comics and get some dinner and stuff. And so I'm looking at, and this weekend I have no plan. So I'm looking at it as that's the reset. I'm gonna have some fun with him, and instead of going on a 3-hour hike, we're just gonna hang out. So anyway, like I said, hopefully this weekend is a bit of a reset where I'll get some work done, but also relax. And then next week we're gonna really come at swinging. Whatever. I'm very tired. I know it seems like I have no energy. I'm enthusiastic about the direction things are going across the board. I'm just very tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. All right. I love you, and my name is Gazbot. Goodbye.